It's to you. Kev Gills, I got you on me. Yeah, man. Welcome to the U, have a seat. The only professor applying pressure when he teach. Big cloud in these YouTube streets. I cheat like Wiz Khalifa. Call it in if you gon' speak. Press 1 when you're checking in. I got the merch, copper coffee, a kush shirt. Support the brand if you support the man. With the spirit of Steve Coakley, they can't hold me. Back around and fade away on them like I'm Kobe. Only straight shooter on this computer. Who else you know gon' bring it to your real truther? Hallelujah. More haters, more moderators. Get yourself timed out for making outlandish statements. Yeah, ain't no playing. Bungalow 54 is where you go with the herd. I got no patience. Either for God or you love Satan. It's reclassification over entertainment. It's to you. Everybody wanna have a school, but it's for you. Care less what a hater say you do. It's for you. Press 1 if you support, if you don't press 2. It's for you. Teach nothing over here, but
mic
live
check.
it true. It's for you.
Press 1, press 1. Press 1, press 1.
Press 1, press 1. Press 1, press 1. Press 1, press 1. Press 1, press 1. Press 1.
Ad-lib. Everybody wanna have a school, but it's the you.
Care less what a hater say you do.
It's the you. Yeah, I can crip walk off this one.
If you don't press 2,
It's the you.
teach nothing over here but the living truth. It's the you. Press 1, press 1. Yeah. Press 1, press 1. 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 Press.
You gotta love the class and those who support my dreams and aspirations to be the best YouTuber of all time. Press what? Shout out to the supporters who continuously make this shit happen. Today, got something special. Got something special for y'all. Got something special. Especially my supporters. You ain't going too far if you're not a contributor or a supporter some way, shape, or form to this show. I love you, but, love don't cost a thing. You think you wanna be my mom. My love don't cost a thing. Y'all some haters. I made this shit look good. We got 42 people watching, 27 likes. That means I got about 20, 22, 23 haters up in here just watching me. Damn, you ain't gonna come to class and even hit the like button. The like button is free. Jeez. All right, I'm moving forward in my class. Shout out to my Patreon. Shout out to my Cash App. Shout out to the people who make this shit possible. It's time we move forward in our endeavors on this YouTube. And Cairo University, again, is just making another step towards greatness. It's feeling like I was pop locking for a minute. Anyway, great information. Great discovery. If you want to be part of giving me notes and be part of that whole Cairo note taking and note receiving class, make sure you're on my Patreon. $1 a day. Keep the doctors away. That's it. It's $1 a day. Then you can send me all the information and participate all you want to. Make a name for yourself if you like. But you got to be a contributor. You can't just be sending me things, just fucking up my life, annoying me like a gnat. Zzz, for no reason. Yeah, for no reason. I know this. We already knew the people went to the Worldsfares. All the distractions came. We already knew our people, but we didn't know about the Great Migrations. We didn't know about the Great Migration. Even said had to say, wait, that's my people too. that nigga said, yes. Says I'm back, bitch. Fuck all that, nigga. We from the South, nigga. Yes. I can feel his spirit. Oh, shit. My grandma. Yeah. my mama. Yeah. We got migrated. They told the story just like they told the World Wars 1, 2, and 3. Press one, but it was all one collective homicidal, genocidal holocaust of African Americans driven from the South and from the East, merged into the city to the center of the United States, attacked on the West by the Asians, attacked on the East by the European Bolsheviks or whoever the fuck they is. Press one. Whoever they is, I don't even want to say their name correctly. And we got kind of pressured by both sides. They attacked us in Washington, California, they genocided us everywhere. Press one. And in 1900s, I was born in the 1900s. Press one. So I know. Trust me, I know. I was born in, a lot of y'all was born in 2021. 2001. That's the cutoff. Sorry. You're full digital. Nothing analog about you. Press one. You're all digital. You was born into the matrix, the real matrix. You just sit down, have a seat. If you was born and after 1999, you can't even debate me. Don't even try it. Don't even try it. If you grew up, not already became a man, if you grew up in the 2000s, nigga, you can't challenge me. My knowledge go back generations. Press one. The internet wouldn't let you do that. Not because you don't want that. The internet, information, propaganda wouldn't allow that to happen. So today we got something special. We are going to prove without a shadow of a doubt. Press one, hit that like button. Let me give a shout out to my cash apps and my morning coffee cutters. You feel me? Let me see who up in here, because without a shadow of a doubt, I'm about to prove that all our people was migrated into the Worldfares. Press one. Lord have mercy. Oh my goodness, I found it. We found the treasure trove. Who is this? Shout out to Deborah Nichols with that $10 contribution to today's truth. Shout out to Brian King with that $10 contribution to my show. It's my daughter's birthday weekend. Shout out to all my contributors. You feel me? It's like courtesy of the row. That's all I do, just courtesy of the row. I just love this moment in my life. Ain't nobody finna fuck this up. Press one. My son graduates school this year. Press one. Do something Mr. Gillespie ain't never did. Press one. My daughter is just growing up. What? And my YouTube page? Better than ever. Y'all been walking with me a long time. Trust me. And all that time, I ain't never felt this good. And I look the same. It's my soul. It's my spirit. I ain't never felt this good. I ain't got time. Cut out all the bullshit like a diet. You know? Just cut out all the bullshit. All the extra problems that go on in one's life that it ain't got shit to do with me. My problems nobody can deal with and nobody want to deal with. And nobody say, Kev, what's your problems, G? I ain't talking about y'all. I'm talking about real life. You know, what's your problem? Let me, what's your problem? It's everybody. I just know everybody else's, bro. I'm a good helper. I'm good at helping people through their problems, through trial and tribulations, and I guess just growing up in the bullshit. I guess that's what you can say, because I didn't go to school. So it's a beautiful time to be alive. It's a beautiful time to be alive. So I'm gonna put this movie on. This is gonna prove without a shadow of a doubt, that African Americans was migrated to the world's fairs all across the Americas, which played a role as concentration camps for African Americans. They are the real people of the Holocaust that happened in the early 1900s, late 1800s, and they were driven and put in internment camps and exterminated, like the Diary of Anne Frank said, but about black people. Press one. So I'm about to prove it. I didn't say I'm about to talk to you about it. I said, I'm about to prove it and I'm out. Hit that like button. I don't got time today to sit around and hope more men. Shout out to William B. Jones in my Cash App for that $5. Press one, Betty Hampton with that $5. Press one. Gracias. Gracias. So anyway, as we move forward and learn history in a way that was never taught, this guy right here who never graduated high school, elementary, junior high school, nothing. My son did it though, but not me. Press my son did the shit. I'm gonna say that forever. My son did the shit, not me. Man, to get it out the mud. Press one. I didn't believe nothing. So I had to start from scratch. So God bless y'all out there who been hanging with me and believing in this perception, this spectrum of knowledge and wisdom, and it has led to the Holocaust, the Black Holocaust. Yale University teaches about the Black Holocaust, but they just started doing it last year. We've been doing it for 3 years, so they've been watching. They said, damn, we caused a great Black Holocaust. It's called the American Holocaust at Yale University. You know Yale University, Skull and Bones, stupid, the Illuminati, Freemasonry, all of them. Yeah. They finally had to come out and say there was a Black Holocaust. And nobody's paying attention because you worried about what P. Diddy did. You worried about what the next nigga snitched on, and y'all ain't even criminal. Breast one, you worried about some other shit. Ain't got nothing to do with us. You said you wanted reparations. You said you wanted a representative. Press one. I'm the one fighting through the wilderness against all of these Pan-Africans and Egyptian believers, the Catholics, nigga, the Muslim. I'm putting it on the line. I'm saying they all got it wrong, and I stand firm in that. You gotta have big balls to challenge everybody. you gotta know your shit when you challenge Sadnetta Network, and the Hebrew Israelites, and the Pan-Africans, and the Hebrews, and the Greeks, and the Spaniards, and the Portuguese. Press one, and the Arabs. You got to know your shit. You know? I say all that to say this. I want y'all to keep your ears open, take some notes. The Black Migration, the Great Migration, all three of them, all 4 or 5 of them. You're going to begin to hear it in this video I'm about to show you. These are Black people explaining to you why the Great Migration, and we're not even migrants. We're from America. We ain't no damn migrants. The Great Migration of Black people happened in the early 1900s. So God bless y'all. Make sure you support this broadcast. If you ain't checked in with me, I still love you. It's all good. Shout out to Nelda Bailey out there in the world, still contributing to the show. I'm glad you're still around, and let Kev be Kev, Professor Kev. We grow into our own right. God bless y'all. I'll see you right after this short film. It's about 40 minutes long. Take notes, especially if you part of my team, my research team. You better take notes. You got to be ready to hit that boom, because it ain't no allegories no more. This is from the horse's mouth. And nobody can tell us anything different. So God bless y'all. Let me see. Here we go. Enjoy this.
"75 years ago, much of Afro-American culture was centered around cotton fields like these. And then, for 5 decades, beginning in 1915, blacks undertook the largest single migration of any ethnic group in our country's history.
Year 1915, the biggest migration in any ethnic group in American history. Press 1 if you live in America. Press 1 if you live in goddamn America. Because we ain't never heard about the greatest migration. We heard about Mexican, Asian, Buddhist. We heard about Islam and Arab. We heard about all these other migrants that came over here. But what about the Great Migration? Bigger than any ethnic group that ever survived. What year? 1915. Not fucking 1503. Not with the Pilgrim. 1915.
Chicago became one of the largest recipients in what has become known as the Great Migration. The people, the customs, and the culture of the migrants have had a tremendous impact in shaping the city of Chicago as what we know it today. The seeds of the Great Migration were planted nearly a century ago when Chicago hosted the Columbian Exposition in 1893.
Not like this. Not like this.
What year? What? I said, where all the black people go during the World Fairs. Press 1 in my chat room right now. Where all the black people go? They went to the World Fairs and never came home. They went to the World Fair. Say it with me. They went to the World's Fair in Chicago. That's where they went.
There had been a constant migration, a trickle, ever since the city was formed in the 19th century, early 19th century.
Oh, my goodness. You see how hard it was for him to say that? This is hard for our black people to say that. It shouldn't be that hard for him to say, goddamn, the city was formed in the early 19th century. He had to, that's how racism is. You gotta, to tell the truth, you gotta take a gulp, nigga. Take a gulp.
Columbian Exposition in 1893.
There had been a constant migration, a trickle, ever since the city was formed in the 19th century, early 19th century. Township status, 1833, city status, 1837. But the spark occurred with the Columbian Exposition, a real pull factor for people who wanted to take advantage of the opportunities of a major metropolis.
Wow. They talking about Tartaria. They talking about it was Tartaria, and they don't know what happened to the last group of people and who was running this country or nothing. Turns out your ass went to the Chicago World Fairs. Now, I want everybody to open up their Google tab right now. This is why I'm respected on earth. I want everybody right now to open up their Google tab and go to the Negro Exposition in Chicago. Busted. That's why they said nobody showed up, really. Nobody showed up to the real American Negro Exposition from 1863 to 1940. Oh, they got the program. They was supposed to show your ass getting out of slaves and getting out of chains, but nobody went. So it was pretty much like some propaganda tool to give them some form of, oh, we had a Negro Exposition to show the greatness of Negro inventions, but Negroes invented everything. Why didn't you just have everything at the invention? We invented it all, from a damn fork and a spoon to a goddamn refrigerator. Press 1 in my chat room. So how did they go from inventing all of these things to slave, coming out of slavery in the 19th century?
This migration apparently didn't attract the working class.
Yeah, the working class came very slowly. The problem for the working class was that Chicago's industry was shut off to blacks.
Before World War I, when Chicago industrialists wanted to hire workers, they looked to European immigrants.
Now look at this. You heard that? Before World War I, as if you didn't exist before World War I, they looked to European immigrants from Russia and Germany. But that's all 1900s. You see how that played before? World War I sounds so far back, but it really wasn't. I was born in 1980. We talking early 1900s. Let's go.
They believed that blacks were incapable of doing industrial work. It was an honest.
How could they be blacks was incapable of doing industrial work when George Washington Gillespie created Philadelphia, Chicago, all of these things, bro? And he's a black man. These are your miners and your laborers of the Republic. Black people. African Americans, who you call African Americans to this day. So how aren't they when we now know that George Washington, who? Gillespie, bro, owned every damn thing. In where? Chicago? Is there a Centralia in Chicago? Let's go. We're gonna make these people liars immediately. Is there Centralia in Chicago or Philadelphia? There's Centralia, Pennsylvania. Gillespie, Illinois. All you got to do is type in Gillespie, Chicago, bro. Those are African Americans, bro. So the whole thing is a lie. This guy got up here with his Russian self, his Jewish self. Press one, his so-called Jewish self, his Ukrainian, Russian, Bulgarian self without his hat on to say, oh, they didn't believe, oh, that they would hire blacks. Fuck that. The blacks wouldn't have went there. They knew where they hired blacks. Where black people own things, right? In the North. That's what the story was. So you look into the owners at the time, you don't get no older than Mr. fucking Gillespie. Let's get to it.
Belief that they held. Industrialists and most other Americans at that time saw the world in terms of races and racial capabilities.
Press one. You're a liar. He had no standing. All you got to do is type in the mass migration in the early 1900s of Sephardic, Russians, Ellis Island. Type in Ellis Island, ELLISISLAND, early 1900s. You'll see them coming over, 50 million of them in great ships. Before that, there was Mr. Gillespie. And I'm just speaking for me and my name. I don't know about Mr. Jones, the other guys that's out there in the world, the different names y'all got out there, but before them, it was us. There was no Indians with Indian feathers in their head at this time. All you got to type in black inventions in the early 1900s, and you check out the black people in at that time, and they're going to look at some Indians and tell me who's more advanced. You ain't never seen no black folk living in no damn teepees, ever. Being wanderers and walkers from no part of life. George Washington Gillespie of Oregon, they didn't even have no money. He allowed them to pay in beaver skins, nigga. Beaver skins. That's how powerful you get when you do your research.
So there was the Italian race, and
Press
the Slavic
one.
race, and the Jewish race. And industrial managers believed that each race had its own peculiar capabilities, and that the black race did not have any capabilities which were...
How they didn't have no capabilities when they invented everything. Electric cars, mobile phone. Well, how is that even coming out of a foreigner's mouth, bro? He's an alien. How is that even happening? George Washington is rolling over in his grave. I'm talking about the white one in Washington, D.C., to see how far we have come from the Republic to say that these great individuals, God-believing, fearing people, can't do nothing. It got to take a racist Adolf Hitler mentality to believe that the people who gave you light and power, the people who allowed you to experiment on a body so you can come up with fossil fuels, press one, don't contribute anything. When you came over here in Popeye boots, what's them leather pants they had? You was a goddamn yodeler. Tell me something a yodeler from Dutch or anywhere ever created that gave us the advancement that black people have advanced on this earth. Nigga, you wouldn't have a stove, a kitchen, a bar stool, an ironing board, a microphone, a camera, nigga, a cell phone, a satellite roaming this earth if it wasn't for black people, bro. And I ain't talking about a regular black person that they found in Africa in some other foreign nation. I'm talking about American blacks. What did they contribute? Everything. Everything. They are the foundations of the earth. When you research pig iron, you will see where all the black people went after the Holocaust. And it's such a sad thing that more men aren't able to conceptualize and speak about these travesties. But history is at the doorstep, though. Let's go.
Appropriate to industrial work. So the only time they hired blacks were when they needed strike breakers, and then immediately after the strike they would be fired.
How are they going to be fired?
At the turn of the
That's the other way around. That's the other way around. When people needed to strike, the miners and the owners will hire immigrants to work. They will hire immigrants. Remember, immigrants didn't have rights back then. They was alien. They couldn't own. The only thing they came over here to do was to work. They brought their whole families from Russia, Germany, just to work, bro. Just like Mexicans do. Like they say Mexicans are hard workers. That's what they did. A white, German, Russian person in America can't even hate on a Mexican because he did the same thing in the early 1900s. He just invaded the nation illegally. So we can't turn to the Mexican and the Asian and say, oh, y'all entering through Mexico. Nigga, you entered through Mexico too. You entered through New York. Japan entered through West Coast, California. Y'all think they just bombed Pearl Harbor in Hawaii and turned around and went home right there? Let's get back to it, man, before I get upset.
century, 2/3 of the country's Afro-Americans lived in the rural South. Few blacks owned their own land. Most worked under some form of the sharecropping system, where landlords would front supplies and living expenses.
Now look. Now I want y'all to type in company store in the 1900s. This is after the banking institution took over. It turned our people into sharecroppers. And then they ruined all they crops. Why? So that the tools that they borrowed to sharecrop will be more valuable than the crop itself. If the crops is all ruined, the only thing you got to do is pay me for the tools, correct? So you got to pay me for this year, no matter how many crops failed. You remember what was going on at the time, mass floods, mass catastrophes going on in America. So there is no crops. There's just wasteland and swamp. Let's go.
Land. Most worked under some form of the sharecropping system, where landlords would front supplies and living expenses in return for a portion of the crops at harvest time. For most sharecroppers, like Erling Lindsay's father in Fitchwood, Alabama, the crops never seemed to cover expenses.
And didn't care what he made, he never got out of debt.
Look.
He always owed something at the end of the year.
Told you. He don't care about none of that. After it all is said and done, they stayed in debt. So it kept them indentured workers and never emancipated.
Cotton was an important crop throughout the South. Its 7-month growing season culminated in the scorching months of August and September.
Have you ever had to work in the field from sunup to sundown, and you see a spot in a cloud in the sky and pray that it rains so you can get some rest? My aspiration was, regardless of what it took, that I didn't have to chop cotton, pick cotton, harvest corn, or anything else anymore. I was willing to take that chance. And I think that's what I was just tired.
Cotton plants grow about waist high. Picking cotton by hand requires bending over or crawling on hands and knees. The sacks each picker carried for the collected cotton often weighed as much as 200 pounds by the end of the day.
I'd get on my knees sometime and pick, crawl on your knees. You had knee pads on. Crawl on your knees. I'd catch 2 rows.
During the early decades of this century, most sharecroppers lived on the land they farmed. Few could afford to travel, which limited their communication with the rest of the world.
When you was used to such work as that, it was great. You knew no better.
About 70 miles south of Memphis, Clarksdale, Mississippi sits right in the heart of the Mississippi Delta. The rich topsoil and warm climate in this area have always been well suited for growing cotton. Like the rest of the South, Clarksdale segregated its black and white citizens through the early 70s. Like most towns in the Mississippi Delta and throughout the South, blatant signs of segregation disappeared around Clarksdale when federal law mandated it some 2 decades ago. For the first half of this century, separate but equal was the official law, but each town devised their own interpretation. When do you recall that you were first aware that racism existed?
The first time, I believe, was when my father bought some hunting dogs, because that was the part of the way that we ate and we lived from him hunting. And he bought some hunting dogs, and these white folks wanted to buy his dogs. And he wouldn't sell them his dogs, and they come along and poison the dogs. And I think that just had a great impact on me as to how far white folks would go to keep control over black folks' lives.
How much did segregation in the South impact your life?
We had separate schools, no school bus. We had to walk to 6 miles where the white school bus picked the kids up and sometimes chase us off the road. We could not walk through the middle of the town to go up on the hill, what they call Baptist Hill, to go to Hale County Training School. We had to walk in the back where they didn't even have sidewalks or nothing. And can you imagine walking in that red mud? Going up, had to go up the back of town in order to go to Baptist Hill, and then we had to walk those 6 miles back home. And I think that's when you really felt and knew the difference. And if you went into a store somewhere, you tried to make a telephone call, and unless you said yes ma'am and no ma'am, they would not wait on you.
During the years between World War I and World War II, talk about a better life began to trickle through the South.
Stop right here. Stop right here. We now know that these photos, look out them coats. This ain't no better life. This is manipulated time. This is them during the Cold War and World War II and I. Where are they? We seen millions and millions. We saw pictures already. Where are these men? Why are all these blacks congregated in one area? Where are they going? What did they think at? What's going on? So you telling me these dudes right here were slaves? You feel me? So if we put up European immigrants in the early 1900s and the centuries, they're going to be wearing clothes like this? No. What type of clothes will they be wearing? Just go to Google Images. They're right there. I don't lie. If I'm lying, Google lying. Ellis Island immigrants. That's all you got to do. Okay? Now look, type it in Google. How many people you see and what are they wearing? German clothing, European clothes, Scottish clothes. They getting off them ships in ragdoll clothes. Marked, never to return back to their home countries. They all went home. They all came to America. Who were they replacing in America? Your black ass, your families, your forefathers. Just your great-great-great-grandfathers and them. That's them. I want y'all to also type in the freedmen banks. Now, if they slaves, how they got all this money? How are the slaves able to invest in Germany and Russia and Italy in war bonds? How is this even possible? Type in the black freedmen banks. All this is the same time frame. So how they slaves? I didn't know slaves had bank accounts. I didn't know niggas was able to invest in Germany and Italy. That's why niggas was having fun. Because the war had nothing to do with them, and they were getting a return on the rebuilding of Italy by way of Germany. by what Germany did. That's what you invested in, the rebuilding process of Europe. So in the early 19th century, or in my version, the 1900s, when we were what they call the hellfighters, they went to where? To Morocco to do what? Help build up Europe. African Americans went to Africa and built Europe. Army Corps of Engineers, all the black. What happened to the blacks in World War I? In World War II? Why didn't they fight for America? They was over there building up Morocco. The Moors told us that they are the original blacks. And they were kings and the sultan of this one. Turns out they all Afrikaners. Legion. They just got established no more than 100, 150 years ago by going to war with these black folk. So the black folks in Africa replaced these African Americans. You see these smiles? You see them hats? You see them little goatees? You see the way they were? We still look like this to this day. So you got African blacks in association with Europeans invading America. While your Army Corps of Engineers, your hellfighters is in Europe building up Europe for them. So you got two things going on at one time. Black military in Europe building up Europe and your country wide open. So how are they at war should be a question in Europe and Germany and Russia, but friends in America. All them is white immigrants over here. How is that even possible? Stalin versus Adolf Hitler, Hitler versus this one, that one versus this one. What were the black people doing while all this was going on? I tell you what, they were this right here, sitting back, smoking a cigarette, drinking, because they had just invested in the first wars, the rebuilding fund. What do you do when you invest in countries? You reap the reward. That's why. These are your real Americans, and they still here, but they're black. And what does black mean in law? Dead. Dead. So you got everybody saying they're black, which means dead in law. I'm not black. I'm not dead in law. I'm alive, and I can speak for myself. I know what I did wrong, and I know what I don't need Lloyds of London to speak for me to get me a deal to go to jail, to sit in jail for nothing. I can speak for myself. I know where I've been. I know where I'm going. I know what time it was. You feel me? And I know who was with me, and you can call them. In fact, when you finish, my lawyer is going to handle this. I know how to do this. I don't do criminal acts and got to hide and shuckle and jive and be like, oh, I don't know. I was over here and get caught lying, and now they got jurisdiction over me. I'm a truthful person. You feel me? And they can work so hard to prove that in this world. Ain't nobody going to take that from me. You feel me? I'm a truthful person, and you should be too. Everybody should know how to handle themselves in this world and just be, hey, as I always say, just don't do bad things, and they have no jurisdiction over you. You got all the power until you do something stupid that's against their corporate policy. But if you was following God's law, you already know not to do bad things, so you solidified. So what? Don't kill, steal, rob nobody, move the borders of my... I don't need nobody over me to tell me that. Press one. Don't do bad things. Everybody got to learn that, especially these people who did this. So if you owe Nazi Germany, if you owe the Jews of Europe, if you owe Ukrainians, if you owe Japanese, for damn sure you owe the people who was made black in law. For sure you owe the people who you robbed, and Grover Cleveland gave all of our gold and money to J.P. Morgan, who then opened up Chase Bank. Big old Nazi logo sitting right there in front on a card. That's how blind we are. You don't even see the Nazi logo. You just think Chase Bank, J.P. Morgan. This is the money that was robbed from these African Americans. And everybody telling the African Americans, y'all lazy, y'all got to get a job. No, I honestly just traumatized. Our people was totally destroyed. Don't feel like it no more. Don't even want to do it. You feel me? Don't even want to do it.
The Promised Land up north offered more opportunity than they had in the South.
You can't separate segregation from sharecropping, from people not having any rights within the legal system, from the threat of violence. These are all part of a social fabric in the South. And what people perceived was that this was a social fabric that did not permit them any opportunity to become all that they could be, to use a more contemporary phrase.
I don't know why that's so funny, because that's infringing on my right. You see? Only an immigrant will laugh at somebody's right being infringed upon, especially black folk. Oh, it's just the way that it was. Well, where do you come from? Yeah. The propaganda was, oh, thou shalt overcome and all this, but y'all really waged a war on black people. Well, we wasn't watching civil rights and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all that. No, we was watching a real civil war at play. People trying to gain nationalistic white status in America over you. And you don't even know what that means. Because you're busy being programmed to say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. So if you black and you proud, you dead and you love it. In law, not in your fantasy, in law. And if they can get you to claim a nationality of dead, then you can't speak when you dead. We can kill you and you can't be charged. It's something called double jeopardy. That's why they say, oh, it's just a black person. How can you shoot a corpse again? Judge, this is double jeopardy, but you don't understand the language. So you seeing all these people get off from killing black people, not knowing, well, the law is double jeopardy. And if you're a nation of blacks, I mean, killing you, isn't it illegal? Really? Is it truly illegal? Now, it takes a white supremacist or an Aryan supremacist to even conjure that thought up. Because America is supposed to be free for all immigrants that's coming in. And these people over here have sovereign right. It's supposed to be free for you. And you have some liberty from your country. And you can come over here and work and establish, get a job, leave something for your kids, but not for you to own anything. It's not funny. We got to really pay attention here.
And they perceived that in the North, industrial work opened up the possibilities to full citizenship because of the availability of this kind of work.
Y'all hear this? Full citizenship. So what was you if you wasn't a citizen of the corporation? I told you, you had to walk. The situation at the time with all of the dams and the storms and the so-called destruction of all the communities in the 1900s, where can people go? You had to become a citizen to even get a job. So everybody who got a job after the war was what? Citizens. You just got to be black. A dead citizen is better than not a citizen at all. You know what I'm saying? The motherfucker just call me black then. You just circle black. I'm fine. That's what that is. Fine. I'll just be black. Circle it right here. Yeah. I'm white. You black. He's this one. Just you. What matters is you being dead, not everybody else.
Had higher wages, but also because they could send their children to school, to better schools than they could in the South, the schools that were open longer. They could vote. They could walk into a store and try on a hat.
Who's the first person to vote in Wisconsin and open up civil vote? A black man by the name of Mr. Gillespie. Let's go.
World War II, an event took place in a Mississippi cotton field that would trigger the second and largest wave of black migration. We'll explore these changes in the cotton culture and their effect on Chicago when we return. On October the 2nd, 1944, in this field just outside Clarksdale, Mississippi, a few thousand people gathered for an event that would dramatically impact Chicago, 600 miles to the north.
What's that?
The unveiling of the mechanical cotton picker would eventually idle thousands of black workers and accelerate their exodus to Chicago.
Told you. Now comes the exodus to Chicago. Exodus is only used in the Bible, okay? So let's be real. Exodus.
In the early 1940s, two brothers owned and managed a 4,000-acre plantation 2 miles south of Clarksdale, Mississippi. One of those brothers, Howell Hobson, had been working with the Chicago-based International Harvester Company for 15 years.
You got to be kidding me. 4,000 acres.
And testing various designs for a machine that could pick cotton. Roosevelt Hill, who was born and raised on the Hobson farm, drove many of the early prototypes.
The first picker would go down through the field. It didn't pick as good as you would take a stick just knocking it out. But on in turns that they would write up their report, what they need to improvement, go back this fall, come back the next fall with something else.
Once perfected, the cost of picking cotton dropped from $42 per bale for hand picking to around $5 per bale with a mechanical cotton picker.
Wow.
Well, this mechanized farming didn't become universal until the 1950s. For those blacks who relied on cotton for a living, the
Wait. So this didn't even become... See, this is what I'm talking about. So the 1950s ended slavery, and slavery ended in the 1950s? Because of this machine? I thought slavery was... Never mind.
Blues musician Johnny Billington grew up in rural Mississippi and earned extra income working the cotton fields.
Yeah, it was a lot of people that was talking about it, although I was real young, but they realized that if it did work, then it would eliminate a whole lot of jobs for people in the South.
Sharecroppers worked their tails off. They weren't people with a bad work ethic. These were people who knew how to work. They were accustomed to working. If you didn't
I thought they didn't know how to work. I thought they didn't believe that blacks didn't know how to work. Just the same guy. He got a slit tongue, a Satan tongue. Just the same one who said they thought blacks didn't know how to work. But now they're the workers. Now they know how.
They didn't eat. These simply were not people accustomed to handouts, and they came to Chicago, they came to work.
Told you.
They came here to work in packing houses, they came here to work in steel mills.
Told
and
you.
this continues right through World War II.
So we're the
People
immigrants.
came here during World War II, they came here for those jobs. It does change to some extent with the mechanical cotton picker. What the mechanical cotton picker does is it creates refugees. The migrants...
Type in refugee. How could you be a refugee on your own land? This Israeli front face, this motherfucking Bavarian on earth. How could you? A black person in America, born and raised, can never be a refugee, bro. It's impossible. So this cotton picker made refugees. Remember when Hurricane Katrina happened and the news started calling black people refugees? They was like, wait, we ain't no damn refugees. We're American. What the fuck? Y'all better come save us. Our tax money. You can never be no damn migrant. Those are aliens. Illegal aliens and aliens are all migrants. Illegal aliens and immigrant. Those are migrants and foreign. It said right here in the 1828 dictionary what an alien is. No, not pew sci-fi made up greens and grays that ain't came down and said nothing to you niggas who believe that bullshit. No, the alien right there in the goddamn dictionary that the Bible is talking about. Aliens. Okay.
that I'm talking about are not refugees. They're a selected population. They're people who make a decision that things are better there than they are here. With the cotton picker, you get refugees. You get people who are thrown off the land.
Told you.
It does change
Told
to
you.
some extent.
So how you, bingo. Press one if you agree. I told you. Here, hold up. Let me see my chat. They threw you off the land, which is illegal. Hello? They threw your black ass off. They threw your forefathers off the land and took their ass to Chicago, put them on trains. Hello? Deb. Deb is a white woman from Florida. She was around at this time. Deb. Deb, call it in. 424, prove it. 209-9506. I told you I was going to break them. I was gonna break this whole thing. I studied too hard my whole life. Facts. I don't want to talk about no rap on my show. Not this one, Coffee and Kush TV, but not this one. I want to teach what I know. Facts. This is embarrassing, but it must be told. Hit that like button. It's 212 people up in here, and it's 113 likes. That means I got 101 haters just sitting back watching the goddamn TV and ain't hit the like button or contributed to my program. Press 1. Hit that like button. Hold up, Deb. Hold up, Deb. I'm going to bring you on the show, right? Hold up. Hold up, Deb. It's running verified. Tired of this shit. Coffee and Kush TV. Deb, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Deb, talk to me.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Talk to me.
It looks like they had waves of immigration, which is immigration, as in moving the people across the land.
Told you. Immigration. Immigration in the dictionary, right, Deb?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Deb.
And they moved the people off the land through threat of death and death.
I told you.
It's better to not be shot by the National Guard.
That's right. That's the American National Guard, right? That was in collusion with the militia, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's
the White
right.
League and the KKK.
That's right.
They all come in.
They're better known as
and
the sons
did
and
the
daughters
dirty.
of the Confederacy, right, Deb?
Yes, sir.
That's
this,
right.
This is the history of the family.
That's right.
They hide it very well, but Kev Rowe has opened my eyes that they cannot hide it any longer.
That's right.
The time has come for the great-grandchildren of the supposed sharecroppers and the supposed not immigrants. We've been here 5,000 pages of history.
That's
bullshit.
right. Bullshit.
To claim that it is bullshit.
That's right.
And to not honor a gravestone ever again.
That's right.
These are not my people. This is a paper genocide and a real genocide and a Holocaust of the American Negro landowners, which were royalty, royal Victorians.
That's right.
Beautiful, beautiful God-honoring people.
That's right.
They use the labor unions. They use it's called the Negro Protection Association.
Oh, go ahead.
Which went in collusion with the Employment and Labor Bureau, a Negro Employment and Labor Bureau.
That's right.
The town that I grew up in was called Jacksonville, Florida, and they built segregated train stations for the Negroes to go up north.
That's right.
The recruiters would come down and offer $7 a day when you're barely making $1 a day.
That's right.
And the National Guard would make sure that you signed up.
That's right.
And created yourself into citizenship.
And you signed it. That's right. You went right to the military as soon as you did.
If
right.
you got to the military.
If you got there. If you got there. Because you know where they going, right? They going to the Underground Railroad and never to be seen again.
Yes, sir. I have remembered that I slept in the back of a Volkswagen or in a cot as, a little child. And a neighbor raised me until they felt of my hair and said, "Oh, you're turning into an Indian." And then I went to downtown Jacksonville with the great-grandma that's supposed to be my great-grandma Indian, the sharecroppers.
Right.
That supposed did a lot of sharecropping history, brainwashed into me.
That's right.
I don't know that those are facts.
Somebody in the chat room said that, so they were basically transferring themselves. In go to black people, out comes an immigrant.
Yes, and the story is that we had to leave sharecropping because the could not pay for the tools at the company store. So when you said that, I related it to the stories they told me.
Yes.
If I'm an immigrant, those stories were created by the Army and the Air Force and the Marines
Yes.
to create a replacement child
Yes.
that will go in and call herself Mulatto Indian, because that's what she was told.
That's
to
right.
replace and one day to reclaim your land. And it's not my land, it's your land. This is a bullshit story, and it's got to be told through the fact that they have separate stations that they built through the employment services, which signed you up for your
Even,
citizenship.
oh my goodness. Could you repeat that again, Deb? Now listen to what she says.
Yes,
Listen to the words. Go ahead. Say it again, Deb.
yes, sir. The National Colored Protection Association, through Robert Randolph Robinson, a Negro leader who was supposedly a deputy of the United States Marshal Service. I have found no history on him besides the fact he wrote a book about what to do with the people.
Go ahead.
And that was to create lodges like Masonic lodges, but for the Negroes, for a small fee. Sign your name for men, women, and children 5 years and up, and every lodge will create a military faction, and then the United States government drafted the men in, and they blended the NCAP with the United Negro Marcus Garvey people.
That's right.
They blended it together and took these people into industrial training schools, shipyards, the military training camps, the women too.
You wait. You said they sent the black folk. They made a different train station for the black folk. They went on a separate train.
Yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
So
they
you don't
made
fought in every war of revolution and civil war and to free people from the so-called king, and you still segregated? Yes, even you can come up. You can come up to the north and work with us, but on these segregated train. That's a setup.
And the pictures look exactly like the pictures you have shown on your show.
That's right.
It's the same get up, everything that you.
It's like they going for a better life, and they never get to the better life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The Bohemian laborers at the same time, were allowed to come in, and that would be the colored from the places that they have bred and raised them to come do this job one day. It is the American Workers League. You sign up over there to come do a job here.
That's right.
AFL-CIO.
That's right.
American Federations of Labor. The Episcopal churches, the small churches, are backwritten in history in all the little dead towns all over Florida. They're backwritten in history in the 30s by Works Progress, WPA. When they do that, they act like these people have, been here and didn't go through a great migration, when they're actually Bohemian preachers, and they even call their little communities Liberia. They come from somewhere else to do the job.
That's right.
To create that we have Negro neighborhoods. When in all actuality, we know that the landowners have been killed, robbed,
pillaged and destroyed, castrated, hung, beat, used as an example.
Burned.
And that's right. So it was a coup d'etat. It's the same thing they're trying to put on Donald Trump. See, but Donald Trump is a smart man. This is what they were doing. This is what they did to the blacks in the early 1900s, the early part of the century, turn of the century.
Yes, sir. He's the only one that has spoke out and said, like the Russian told you at the end of Route 66.
That's right.
They owe you everything. Everything. The map of Florida of ghost towns, just the ones that they say about, that they talk about, has waves of immigration through great freezes, great storms, great calamities.
Of course.
But dotted in with that is the, oh, they whistled at a white woman. Oh, they looked at a white, whatever the story is.
Right.
Militias came from other cities, large industrial
That's
cities,
right.
would come to these small communities and wipe them out.
Yeah,
just like Oscarville.
That's perfect because the militias was armed by J.P. Morgan and allowed to do so by the federal government.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So who we're looking
remnant-
at attack these black people is is state-sponsored militia terrorist.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. And hiding that is state sponsored through every university that has a liar on the screen.
That's right.
Continuing to choke over his words because God will make him choke.
That's right.
He won't be able to say the truth until it's time.
The truth ain't in them, Deb.
Oh.
So I thank you, but the truth ain't in them, Deb. The truth is in you. I thank you, and let me get back to this movie.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That's just some research.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And thank you for bringing that to the classroom. I love that. Let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. This is a beautiful time.
With the mechanical cotton here for those jobs, it does change to some extent with the mechanical cotton picker. What the mechanical cotton picker does is it creates refugees. The migrants that I'm talking about are not refugees. They're a selected population. They're people who make a decision that things are better there than they are here. With the cotton picker, you get refugees. You get people who are thrown off the land, people who no longer can survive.
Like scores of other black...
You see that? Here it is. They can no longer survive. Kick them all off the land. It's that easy. We like, oh, they passed all these laws. Yeah, after they kicked them out the land. They passed the laws after they kicked them off the land. The whole South was evacuated for immigrants. Red Cross, tents, immigrants, Ukrainians, Russians, Germans, all came by way of train, boat, and railroad. Period. Underwater too. Shit.
In Clarksdale and around the Mississippi Delta, Ruby Haynes contemplated a move north during the 40s.
A lot of friends of mine I know started leaving here in 39, 38.
And you see, they're talking about the 40s. Remember, this shit started in 1917. This is all the way up in the 40s. She's remembering to the 40s. This shit happened 2 or 3 times before her. So when she was a little girl, it had already happened. Before it was already a process. We're born into the furnace, into the process of complete extermination. So what if you were born and there's an already process in way to get you up out of here? 400 million babies aborted, African Americans, women and men sterilized, can no longer have children. They're completely shutting down their race. They're completely destroying their communities. Tulsa, Oklahoma's all over America. All the Freeman banks are being raided. All of the people are being hoarded into the middle of the country for some mass assault. So you can't think of it like single it out. This is from the early to the mid. It's all the way up into the Cold War. You wasn't free. Remember Martin Luther King said, I think I may have led my people into a burning house. The furnace. The war was still at play. You got these blacks talking about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Y'all watch these movies and not knowing this was a war against niggas. What came out of it? The Panama Canal, the Clintons, drug running, heroin, cocaine, black tar, crack, crystal methamphetamines, all moved into black communities. Niggas ain't scientists. Niggas don't own ships. Niggas just came out of a Cold War in Vietnam, nigga. So who was doing it? The same people who need you off the land and incompetent. Hey, listen, just Google United States government harboring drugs in the damn vaults in Washington, D.C. They was harboring drugs. The biggest drug dealers in America was America. They didn't have money. They had black tar. Let's talk about it.
39, 40, 41, 43, people would just start leaving, you know. So it took me a long time to make up my mind to go there.
Why did you want to move to Chicago?
I think when they started getting the cotton pickers in for the plantation, because most of the people, that's how they would make their living. Most of the way to go pick cotton.
Okay, now where did this start? At the Worldsfares. Okay? So I gotta bust some moves. I'm on daddy daycare. But it's a lot of things I gotta do today. But my main point in coming up here was to continue this great work, and I'm gonna continue this video. Tomorrow morning, first thing in class. I got Coffee and Kush show coming up later on tonight. So this is what's going on. If you're gonna partake in the show, hit me up on Patreon, become a part of my StreamYard community. All of this started with them sending us off and putting us into the World Fairs and never coming out of it. So we're going to keep these conversations going first thing in the morning. Thank y'all for the continued support. Who just supported? Who just supported up in here? Mr. Watson, shout out to you with that $20 contribution. MDN Towing, shout out to you with that $5. Gloria Roberts, shout out to you from AKA Mama Chief. You feel me? I support this message. That's what I'm talking about. Betty Hampton, William B. Jones, Deborah Nichols, Brian King, Amanda, Nelda Bailey, Cedric Bernardo, my guy, Tracy Wilson. Shout out to you with that $50 contribution yesterday. I didn't even see that. So I thank y'all for the continuous support. I will get up here every chance that I could and drop more content and more videos. But I also got my other shows being, they ready to go. And there's a lot of things being talked about. From the Urban Conservative to the Black Joe Rogan podcast. So I'll see y'all later at tomorrow morning right here, Rise and Shine, Coffee and Kush TV University, Kevro University. And those who contribute, I so thank y'all. It is so greatly appreciated. And as always,